We are Valley Automotive in Winchester, Virginia. Today's episode, we are going to build out 1967 Mustang seats. Please like us, share us, and subscribe to us. We appreciate the assistance as we build out our channel. Enjoy. Okay, so now we're working on the bottom piece. As you can see, we have the bottom cleaned up. We have the pads hog ringed down in the correct position. It's not going anywhere, it's nice and tight. Now it is time to install the bottom TMI cover. I've had this outside in the sun for a couple hours now. It's very soft, as you can tell, and this is how you want to get it. Pliable, easy to work with. All right, so one option is to start to glove it on from the, what I'll consider the back lower piece. And then I find if you can turn it inside out. Again, this is hard to do. It hasn't been sitting in the sun for a while. Right. Go here, turn it. There's a lot of pulling and prodding that goes into this. When you get it to a point where you're happy with it, and you have that nice stretched lines and tight all the way around, like you see in this seat that I've completed, you will know how things start to kind of fall into place. Like a glove that you've worn for a long time and it slides itself on almost. That's what you're trying to get to that stage here. As the material starts to cool down, it will help find the shape and where it belongs. But as I said, you might want to put it in the sun a couple times, which I think I'm going to do this now. Put it in the sun for another hour. Let this warm up. But let's see where we are at the moment. All right, not bad. It didn't look as good as that when I first started. I mean, there's a whole lot of fighting going on, but you'll see what I mean. It starts to take its form around the material of the foam. And what you want to do at this point is, as it is doing that, take a look, you'll see it's starting to kind of find its place. Extra material here that you want to make sure is tucked in correctly because it's a barrier between the metal and an extra piece of material to protect the outside, not getting anything from coming through it. Pieces that you can imagine there's a lot of uses to this seat, obviously. This friction that it creates as you're sitting down on it, you're driving, bouncing in it, and so that extra material is a nice extra cushion between the outside pleather and the metal frame. All right, so we're in pretty good shape here. As we'll let this sit for a while outside, get a little softer, because what I want to be able to do next is pull this down even further. You'll see this lip here. You want to pull this over this lip so that you can also get your rings and bite into it. You see what I'm trying to do there? I'm pulling it upwards to get a ring on that. I can almost do it now. Pretty close to it, actually. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a ring. You see what I'm doing? I'm pushing down on the material, or pushing down on the cushion piece so that the material can get up and over. And that, I think, is the place I'm going to go ahead and put a hog ring there and then set it outside for a little while and let it get a little softer. And then I can go around the edges a little easier. Last thing you want to do is tear the material, forcing it too much. Okay, so that one ring right there, right in the middle, right dead center, will now keep this in check. Oh, that's really nice, actually. You can see how nice that came out with lines all matching. They're running along the foam material inside now. And I know that probably didn't look like it was very professional looking, but it really is a matter of just pulling and pushing and prying on it until you get it to behave the way you want it. Okay, we've got this out in the sun a little bit, softened it up with just a little bit more. And I'm going to go ahead and go around the edges. All right, so once you get the side down, hog ringed in, take a look at your work and see how the lines all are contoured to the foam padding. That's how you want it, nice and clean. You're gonna have this piece here that is the connector between the top piece. That's pretty simple. What I'll do is get a little X-Acto knife, just put a little X there, push it in, let it come out, and then this all should fall in place pretty nice. So as I mentioned, get yourself a sharp knife, X-Acto knife or something. Slightly carve into, pushing against the metal piece and maybe an X. Mark the spot. And just let, there you go. Just let the metal poke through without putting too much pressure or force. And then it'll just seal itself around. It's pretty straightforward. See that? You can see that or not. Okay. All right. So here you're going to have your rails, which will help hold that down and in place as well. On this side, you have the same thing. You want to make sure everything is contoured and tight. And you can bounce a quarter on that thing easily enough. Okay, so that's your product, nice and tight all the way around. Here, you get the same thing. These are the connectors for the top, the back of the seat. Just get your X-Acto knife, slice yourself a little X there, right on top of the metal. X marks the spot. Push it down ever. Cut through the material enough again. There you go, I can feel it now. Hitting bare metal, there you go. Okay, push it down, pop right into place. Let it mold around the piece. You can see nice finished work. All right, good deal. Okay, and there you go. And the next stage is going to be putting these two together like so. Sounds easy. This is actually one of the most challenging parts because getting these two onto these two bars. You know, I looked around on video on YouTube and such to see how people do this. I haven't really seen any videos out there how they're doing it. And I found the best way is carefully. And I want to go through that process with you. The next step I want to show you is attempting to, and I like to do this at this stage, attempting to install the back to the bottom piece. And in doing so, it is probably the worst part of this whole job, is to get it on there without tearing and ripping the fabric, because it goes on there and a bit of a handling of pushing and prodding again. But there are a couple things to do before you connect the two. These are great little pieces that when the rotation of the back and the front goes up and down, like such, this piece tends to rub, the metal bar tends to rub up against the side, and it will tear your material over time or soften it and such. These are great little dividers. Scott Drake makes these, and they basically go on before you attempt to connect the two. They go on as a cushion that between the actual material and the bar that will rub up against it and such. So it's a little bit of a manhandling, but once you get these two, stick them on in place. And I recommend these highly because I've seen where the job gets done nicely, and the first couple of times you get in your seat goes back and forth and it rips your material. That's the last thing you want. Getting the one side in place and using the pins that hold it there is essential. And once you get that in, now you just have this side to work with. I have not seen this on any video on how you do this without straining yourself one way or the other. So here we go. So you see, and I didn't really show you that because I was putting some pressure on it, but if you can get it lined up, get something behind it that cushions it to push it out enough, slide it into where the bar is. I hope you can see that. A little difficult to see. Then once you get it in place, get your pin. Slide it in place. All right, and here we have our seat. Actually, nicely done. See, everything lines up nicely. A close up of that. Now, we still got more to do, obviously, but this is the beef of the project. Everything is together. Everything is lined up beautifully in position.